Hello, everyone, and welcome to DNN's March Madness preview show. I'm Alex Green, joined by Dylan Hicks. Today, we will each be giving you our sleeper team, which is a team seeded 10 or lower that can go on a Cinderella run, our final four picks, and our national champion picks for this year's NCAA tournament. We're going to start with our sleeper teams. And Dylan, would you like to start?
Thank you, Alex. So my sleeper team for this year's tournament, it's going to be Penn State. Now, Penn State is probably going to be a popular pick, but it is a deserving pick. Now, the Nittany Lions have won four of their last five games, and four of them have been against tournament teams, with the loss only coming against one seed Purdue by 2 points in the Big Ten championship game. Penn State, they're playing their best basketball of the season, and they really have a good chance to do some damage.
Yeah, Penn State, a team seated on the 10 line that I really, really like. They have a tough first round matchup though in Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M should be seeing a little higher than the 7 seed, but that should be a fantastic game, and Penn State can definitely not only win that game but go on a deep run in the tournament.
Absolutely, and Texas A&M, they are another team above the 10 seed line, but they definitely got a really good offensive glass. They're good on the offensive glass. They could really bring down rebounds. That's another team who's really a good team to watch to make a good Cinderella run.
Yeah, absolutely, Dylan. So for my sleeper team, I'm going with Oral Roberts, the 12 seed. So 2 years ago, this team took the world by storm when they made it to the Sweet 16 as a 15 seed. Max Abmas, the star player from the Oral Roberts team 2 years ago, is back, and this year he has some help, including 7'5" center Connor Vanover, who is shooting 33% from three and has over 100 block shots on the season. Oral Roberts is also playing some of the best basketball of the season as they are entering the tournament on a 17-game winning streak. Oral Roberts going to be a popular upset pick to upset Duke. That's a tough matchup, but I think Oral Roberts can not only win that game, but make a run, possibly even beating Purdue in the Elite Eight or Sweet 16.
Right, that's definitely a really good pick. Will Roberts, like you said, they made it to the Sweet 16 a couple years ago as a 15 seed. They're definitely going to be a popular pick, and like you said, they've got a 7'5" center, Connor Vanover. Hey, they can if they can grab rebounds. Of course, they're running to an also red hot Duke team, so that's definitely going to be a really good first round matchup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a 7'5" guy who can shoot threes, that just seems like a matchup nightmare for any team, especially Purdue. Zach Edey, we'll get into Purdue a little bit later, but Zach Edey, 7'4", Vanover 7'5", he matches up well against Zach Edey. So moving on now to our final four picks. For my final four, I have Purdue, Kansas, Miami, and Arizona. And even though Miami is a 5 seed and a bit undersized, this is the same Miami team that made the Elite Eight as a 10 seed last year, and they were led by Isaiah Wong. He's back. They have one of the most consistent offenses in the country, and I think that they match up well with the top seeds in the region, Houston and Texas.
Right, I like those picks, especially that Miami pick. Very bold, but very respectable. I like it. Though my picks are a little bit different. For this year's Final Four, I'm going with Arizona, Purdue, Houston, and UConn. Now, UConn, they may be the odd one out here because they are the only team who's below the 1 or the 2 seed here, but they've proven they can hang with the best of the country. They can rebound really well. They could score from inside and beyond the arc. I think if the UConn Huskies can stay out of foul trouble, and history's on their side, when they're the underdog, they can win tournaments. So I think they can stay out of foul trouble, play to the best of their ability. I think they can make a Final Four run.
Yeah, as a UConn fan myself, I love that pick wearing the UConn sweatshirt. UConn has a very, very tough draw, though. I mean, they have to play Iona as a 13 seed. That's not a team to be taken lightly. VCU or St. Mary's potentially in the 5-12 and in the second round. Both of those teams are very good. Kansas and Gonzaga are tough. UCLA as well, even though they lost their the best defensive player in Jalen Clark. But UConn, very, very tough region that they're in. But obviously, as a UConn fan, I'm hoping they can make a run, and they definitely can make a run if they play that the way they played at the beginning of the season.
Right. If they could just maybe avoid a couple matchups against, UCLA, like you said, they're in their bracket. That's a tough matchup. But of course, like you said, it's a very difficult draw. But UConn's also they're a formidable team as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'm rooting for them to make the Final Four because they're one of my picks. But now, finally, let's move over to who we think is going to be cutting down the nets in Houston this year, our national championship picks. Now, my national championship pick for this year, is going to be the Arizona Wildcats. I think that they have the experience on their side. They're a very efficient team in the scoring department. They performed well against the nation's best. They're coming off of winning the Pac-12 tournament against UCLA. Now, it's been about 26 years since the Wildcats have cut down the nets. But this year, I think they can cut that. They can break that skid.
Yeah, Arizona, a very good team, 2 seed. They are very good in winning the Pac-12 tournament. I definitely think they can make the championship and possibly win it. I have them in my final four as well. So I have them advancing very far. But I have someone a little bit different. I have the Kansas Jayhawks. The Jayhawks have the most quad one wins out of any team in the tournament, and they are loaded with talent up and down the roster with the likes of Jalen Wilson, Kevin McCullough Jr., and DeJuan Harris Jr., just to name a few. I like Kansas to become the first back-to-back national champion since Florida in 2006 and 2007.
Yeah, that's a really good pick. Kansas, they've got experience, they're talented, they're very well coached. And like you said, it's been a while since anyone's repeated as national champions in the college world. And Kansas, they're well experienced. When I was watching them at the beginning of the season, I thought they were going to have a little bit of a readjustment period just because a lot of national champions do. But they started out really strong, and they've continued that throughout one of the toughest conferences in the country. So I like your pick for Kansas to repeat as national champions.
Yeah, the Big 12, very tough conference this year, probably the best in college basketball this year in Kansas. They lost the Big 12 tournament to Texas by 20. I'm not looking too much into that. Kansas was without their head coach, Bill Self, who'll be back for the NCAA tournament. And I think that's just going to put some fuel in Kansas even more. I also think they feel a bit disrespected by the selection committee being the third one seed. I think they're better than Houston, who was the number 2 1 seed. And I think that the tough draw they'll be ready to play. Bill Self will get those guys ready and make sure that they know that they're going to have to play their best basketball to win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to
Yeah,
wrap things up for the March Madness preview show. For Dylan Hicks, I'm Alex Green. Thanks for watching. Have a great night and enjoy March Madness.